Hello and welcome back to Factorio C Block. Last time we set up the arrays here for circuits and science, and now we're able to make quite a bit more of each, which makes our lives quite a bit easier when we need to do something. Every time we need circuits, we go grab some more. Every time we need science, every time we need something made science-wise, we can do it quickly. I accidentally made 4 more of them, thinking I only put down 4 when I put down 4 more, and then I made 4 more, and then I had 4 more to put down. So I may extend this, but I don't know that we really can have that capacity at this point. If we do, then I will definitely put the rest of them down, but for now we'll leave them there, and when we need them later, we can use them later. Or once we can build that recycling machine that I have here, once we have electronic circuits, then we'll just break them down into their components and forget about it. So today we're going to work on the first step in the new slag processing technology. I've already unlocked that one. That's down here. And what that does is that allows us to take in slag, I think liquefy it into, and then mix that with some sulfuric acid. Or maybe liquefy it with sulfuric acid. I think you liquefy it with sulfuric acid. We'll take a look at the recipes in just a moment. And then get down to a mineral sludge that we then crystallize into one of 4 different types of ores, and I think we get more later. And then each of these ores can be refined into not only the iron and copper we've been doing already, but also things like lead, nickel, tin, silicon, and then even more in later stages. And I think at this point, most people do this technology with not only the one we're going to start right now, which is water treatment, because you kind of need it, but also with mechanical refining. For the purposes of this series, I'm going to separate mechanical refining into a separate build, which means that to start with, at least, we are only going to break down the sludge into sapphirite and or stearite, rather than going in straight into rubyite and bobmonium ore. Once we have the next stage going, then we could look at doing those to get the special ores out of those. But right now, we just really need to increase our iron and copper production, because it's kind of a struggle to produce enough to make really that much of a dent out here. So I have made the things we need. I've also made a plan. If you compare this plan just quickly to the one we're using right now, which the one we're using right now produces enough iron plate that we can produce from 1 stone furnace, and in order to do that, it uses nearly 15 electrolyzers worth of slag. And we have to vent out, of course, all of that oxygen and all of that hydrogen. And in fact, we're actually venting the hydrogen with 2 flares because there's not enough. We're producing too much for just 1. So in this plan, we're still producing enough for 1. But we are only using 4.3 electrolyzers worth of slag, which is quite a radical difference. So let's go through this real quick. And we just finished water treatment. Great. So iron plates, of course, this is still the same step. We're still turning crushed sapphire. We're still bringing in sapphirite. We're still crushing sapphirite, and we're still making plates out of it. That's the part that the other technology that we have not yet started researching will give us a new step for. What this does is it replaces, of course, it got dark on me, the step that goes from slag to the actual ores themselves just come out of here and go into there. So we have a circular process here that takes, actually start back at the slag. The slag comes in still as before. We're still liquefying it, but instead of liquefying it or instead of crushing it first into crushed rock and then liquefying it, we are liquefying it directly with the inclusion of sulfuric acid, which we have to make. And then we can take that and feed that into a process along with some purified water to separate out that makes slag slurry, by the way, to separate out, using some charcoal filters, the mineral sludge from sulfuric wastewater. So because we forced in some sulfuric acid into this process, we then need to filter it back out again effectively. So the slag slurry contains sulfuric wastewater and mineral sludge, basically, or sulfuric acid of some kind, and the purified water that we're going to pump in pulls that sulfur out of the slag slurry and leaves us with mineral sludge, if you're going to look at this kind of chemically. And then the mineral sludge goes into a crystallizer, and that's been done, by the way, in a filtration unit. This mineral sludge goes into a crystallizer, and out comes whichever ore you want. For the purposes of this, I'm forcing it all into sapphirite, but we're going to set it up so we can have some steatite as well, practically. Just for the simplicity of this design, I did it all as sapphirite. We need a little bit more than one crystallizer, so we'll just do one crystallizer of sapphirite and one crystallizer of steatite, and we'll get out of it what we get out of it. So then we have, so we of course crush it, as we've done before, and then we smelt it as we've done before, and that's in order to keep one step at a time. Now, what's not included in this plan is how we get from... how we use this water treatment to treat this sulfuric wastewater to get back to sulfur, and we're going to actually have to build a plan for that briefly here. So let's just take a look at what that might look like. We have sulfur someplace. Sulfur. Not sulfuric acid, but or yes, sulfuric acid is fine. Let's see, sulfuric acid right there. We need to make sulfuric acid from something else. In this case, sulfur dioxide gas. We can use that, of course. And then we need to get sulfur out of that. And that sulfur can come from not hydrogen sulfide gas and oxygen gas. That's the one we already have in our other plant. But it needs to come from sulfuric wastewater in this case. And then we need purified water into that. We have purified water coming... or out of that, rather, we have purified water coming into this process, making the sulfuric acid, and we have mineralized water coming out of this thing as a waste product. So we don't have 150 going in. We definitely don't need 60 out. We have 8.5 going in, and according to this plan, which I may end up doubling. 8.5 means that we need a small fraction of this. I guess that's just over 5%. We'll go with like 6% of 60, which is... what is 6% of 60? 60 times 0.06 is 3.6. I actually should have been able to do that in my head. 3.6, a little about there. A little bit less than that, maybe 3.4. That's pretty good, actually. Not a bad second guess. Yeah, that's actually really good. So we need very little of this. Actually, this is not going to run very much. But the interesting thing here is this produces 3.4 sulfuric acid. And we need 3.2... no, where's it at? Here, 3.2 going into this process. So it's almost a closed loop between this and this using this recipe. Now, what I've done here is I've used the hydrogen sulfide gas, which is coming out of the muddy sludge process down here. Right? We've been flaring it forever here in this. And what we're going to do is just put a valve in here, and we'll take this up with us to wherever we're going to do this process at, which is going to be up here someplace in this area that I've paved out. So let's go ahead and start some plan here, and then we can... kind of go from that. So let's start with this. We're going to pin that, and then we can do the first step, which is actually in the middle here someplace. That's this liquefying the slag and the sulfuric acid into the slag slurry. We'll just put one of those down like that. And that's going to take in a belt of slag in some way. And then we also will need to have the pipe here, and I think based on the way this works, I think we're going to want to have, well, this is going to need how much slag? 5 slag every 3 seconds. Crafting time is speed is 1.5. So we actually need 5 times 1.5, so 7.5 every 3 seconds. Since one arm can flip 1 every 1.2 seconds, that means, sorry, it can flip, straight arm can flip 1.2 per second. That means we need to have right angle arms, and I think we might need to have 2 of them per machine. 0.2 per second. Yes, I think we'll need to have... well, right angles would give us 2.4 per second, and that would be enough. 2.4 times 3 is just about 7.5. Alright, so we have to design this with that in mind. I want to grab my underground pipes here, and actually let me put them here on the toolbar someplace. And the straight pipes too. I guess I should make some more of those. Which means I should have probably got some more copper. We do have plenty of copper backed up here now, which is good. Or some, not plenty. Some copper backed up. It took a while for that to fill in. And then let's do... I'm also going to clear the flashing thing up there. Let's just do maybe this like that. And then I want to take these in the middle between these things like this instead. And then we'll do arms like this. Pick up tile from the right. This one will go over here, flip over there. And we'll just have one of these for the moment. This belt will come in... Is how I want this? No, this belt needs to come in down here. Because we'll do these like this and keep going. So in that case, this could just be... no, actually it needs to be down here because we need to be able to make this repeatable a little bit. So we're going to do something like this. And that should be fine. That'll be where the slag comes in. We have a crap ton of slags, which is why I want to repeat this. We're going to scale this up, but at least this gives us a little bit of a plan to start with, and then we can go from that. So that's this liquefier. That much slag, which is, we said 4.3 of these worth, and we have 15 of them, so we can triple this easily enough. This is only half this one, though, so we're going to just add a second one of these to start with. That'll be fine. And then when we repeat this, by the way, we'll just repeat it like that, more or less, and that'll work out kind of great, actually. I like that idea. So then this goes out into filtration units. We need just slightly more filtration units than the liquefiers, so we can put those up here. But I want to do this a little bit irregularly, I think. Let's see how we're going to work this out. You need to come out into maybe this type of thing, I think, because there's no solids out of this, and the only solid in and out of this is charcoal filters and empty charcoal filters coming back out again. But I think this will be okay, and then we can do maybe something like this and that. And if I'm going to do that, then maybe I could get away with this even. That might work out okay. These will be repeated as well. The problem is going to be that when I go to do this and repeat it, whether I have one of those or not, I'm not going to be able to put these exactly aligned there, which is actually not the best solution in that situation. So maybe I add an extra space here after all, and instead I do... And I'd actually had 2 spaces though. Yeah, that's not any good. It's not any good at all. Plus, we also need fewer of these than of those. In that situation, maybe then I want to have these separated somewhat. That's the tough part. If I went with this idea, I would not be able to do that. If I did this, then it looks weird. Although, what I could do is just turn... I don't like doing that, though. I don't like having them picking up from a bend because it gets a little weird. That's unfortunate. That's really not good. I don't like it. If we went out further, I could do that. It's just not as efficient. But we could do that. Takes up more space too, which is also not the best option. At what point do we actually need one more of those for that? It's quite a bit away. I mean, to be fair, it's quite a bit away before we actually need one more filtration unit for every of the others. Every one of the others. So let's just do this so we can scale it out correctly. We're going to back this out again up to there, and I'm going to put this in like this. And this one will probably connect across, but then the later ones will be exactly where they need to be, and we don't have to worry about scale. That'll be fine. So this is one array of that so far. And then the next thing we need is crystallizers, and this is the one where we're going to want to adjust depending on what we want to crystallize. This will also produce the ore, which means that it needs to kind of go into this process here. And we're going to actually flip this process in a way and have it output onto this belt differently. So we're going to have to plan that a little bit, but we can do that because this is going to get replaced pretty quickly with another process after this is all done. So I want to bring this stuff back down around here and put it out, spit it out down here someplace, maybe even like over here or so. We're going to want to do one, though, with steertite, just so that we can handle this. And remember, this is the same machine that makes the 2 ores. And that's kind of a key thing to remember, but not super horrible to remember. Let's do this, and then for the purposes of the frames, I want to do just a loop here. Eventually, this will have more in it, of course. But let's see, yes, and then here we'll have a loop here, and that will go in and out like this, so that this will pick up from the, oh, this isn't going to work because I need a place for a power pole here. If I want these right up next to each other, this isn't going to work exactly the way that I want it to. And these only need one, whatever it is here, 0.2 frames. Even if it's double, it's basically 0.4 frames per second, so the straight arms is fine here. But I need to do this a little bit differently then. Maybe we just push this out by one more space. We make these be double length, and that's fine because, well, the speed is the same. And then we can just do a power pole like that to power those guys in. These guys also need a power pole someplace like that, which would be kind of perfect there too. And then this will come in and out. We need to have here some kind of, maybe there, some kind of a machine making filter frames. Refilling filter frames with charcoal. We're going to pre-seed this with a bunch of frames, and the frame return is exactly what goes in. There's 2.15 in, or 0.215 in, 0.215 out. So we do not have to worry about losing any frames. They just go into a loop here. So we're going to pick up the frames from here, the empty frames, put them into there, and spit them back out right there. And if we did that, that'll last us, that's only 0.09 machines, so we can actually do this like 11 times before we need another one of those, which is really nice. So we have, let's see, you're going to pick up, you're going to drop onto this. They're going to go onto the outside. The outside is good because this will pick up to the outside. This will drop on the inside of the loop. That's perfect. Excellent. Excellent. So we'll do that, and we'll just feed charcoal in. We're going to have to belt up some charcoal from down here. We'll have to feed charcoal into that, but again, we need 0.043 charcoal per second for this initial build, so that's no problem. The thing we haven't looked at yet, though, is where we get the sulfuric acid from, where we get this purified water from, and so on. Purified water we can make. You can probably see that down here someplace, right here. We can make purified water, and we'll figure this part out a little bit later. I'm actually going to move it out of the way a little bit here. Purified water comes in from down here by mixing oxygen and hydrogen. We have those here being flared. We'll still be flaring them a lot, but we can change the line here to use overflow pipes. And then we're also going to be doing the same thing down here as I mentioned earlier with this stuff here. We're going to have to overflow this as well. I think I want to move you off the center line there. And then we'll take this, and take that up. I need 3 overflow valves. Forgot to make those. There. You. Overflow. And right now it's fine. It'll just overflow once this gets to 80 instead of it flaring all the time. No problem. And then the same thing with these up here. We're going to readjust them a little bit. And I think what I'm just going to do is move you up 1 block and put the overflow valve in there. And then this is... What are you? Marble? Yeah. Can I take that out without breaking things? I can. Excellent. This is connected here, so I think I'm just going to take this one out and replace it with a valve right in there. Because I can take this out this way and use this hydrogen however I want. And I can take this oxygen out here however I want as well. That'll be okay. So we have that making the purified water. We also need to bring that pipe of whatever this stuff is called that I keep, hydrogen sulfide gas, up. That'll be mixed with more oxygen here in another chemical plant. Here. And then that will make, we mix with oxygen again. That'll make sulfur. And then that'll get mixed again with, wait a minute, what? Sulfur, yes. That'll get mixed again with oxygen to make sulfuric acid. Sulfur dioxide gas, excuse me. And then we mix sulfur dioxide gas with the purified water to make sulfuric acid. Alright, so, let's see, purified water. It's going to have to go into this process, but also it goes into liquefier. Oxygen in, sulfur dioxide out. Then this one. That. We bring in. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. This can come over here somewhere. That sulfuric acid is coming out the top, though, which isn't the greatest layout in the world. Maybe I can do something like this instead. Maybe something like this then. You can go like this. 2 outputs. One to go directly into this, one to come up and go into this. It's kind of zigzaggy a little bit, but you gotta do what you gotta do. And then this can go something like that. Put the sulfur into here. Yes. So you'll need an arm. And remember, with this other thing we unlocked, we're going to actually need to change to using the sulfur dioxide gas. No, we're going to use the sulfur from here rather than the sulfur from here. And so we'll want to change that at some point, but for right now, this will do. We need to bring in an oxygen pipe here, like this. Maybe we do like that. We go under this one, up to there, and then we can connect these across. That goes in there. This is already here. That's great. This will be this stuff coming in. We also will need to have more pipes. More copper. Okay. Take it all, or most of it. This may not be exactly where this is going to fit in here, but it'll be good for now. Let's see. You need to be actually over here like this. Or possibly right here, right this. That's better. Let's do this, and we'll do this one also. And that'll be where all these things come in. So I would like to move them over here somewhere else. You... Man, I wish I could flip that differently. Because the sulfuric acid and the water, the purified water, have to flip each other. Flip past each other. And I also didn't do this. If I rotated that, then these would be going this way, which is not what I want. So I'm just going to have to crisscross these pipes. It is what it is. But I do want to move this over more, which means I need to move this all over more as well. Which means we're going to need a bit more in the way of landfill. Which is part of the reason this is maybe right here. Yeah. Either way, this is probably fine enough. You can come down this way to there. You'll come up. Wait, what is this again? Stone pipe to ground, because that's a stone pipe to ground. That's a stone pipe to ground. This is just a stone pipe. So this needs to come over here. That's to keep it from contaminating. And then this can go in there, but that's a problem. Dang it. Alright, so you need to come over one more space then. Nope, undo. I missed. There. This comes over by one more space. Here. This comes over here. You can go back down and then... Or not. Actually, you don't need to. You can just do squigglies like this to there. And that'll come in like this. And I need more copper again. And then finally we need to, well, not finally, because we actually need to also sneak charcoal up through here. But we'll also need to do this one here. But I think what I should do, maybe, that's not going to work there though. I have to come through over here someplace. Can I get it through here? Maybe. Right there. That would be perfect if I can. Oh, I can. Good. Do this, go this way, and we'll grab this one like that. That'll be fine enough. There. That's not in the right spot, though, for this to be perfect. That is, though. So I just need to figure out how to get charcoal up through here. Well, we can probably just go underground something, or snake it, or squiggle it, or something it. I also need more of these. But I think what I should do is kind of leave this as a planning episode, and then in the next one, actually start hooking things up. I'm a little bit less certain about the way to handle this stuff correctly, but I think this is going to end up being a few parts in order to completely cover these two technologies, and then, like I said, we're going to have a third technology coming soon that will completely change the way that ores are prepped before they're smelted. So we'll take a look at that also before we kind of end this string of episodes. So the game, or the mod rather, has now started to get more complicated, and we're going to have to be ready to handle that complication very, 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 very soon. So we'll leave this here, and we'll be to be continued in the next one. Thank you all for joining me, and I will see you then. Bye for now.